This has been Manifesting: How to Cultivate Inner Peace, Release Self-Doubt, and Manifest Abundance with Emotional Intelligence, Law of Attraction, and Powerful Affirmation. Written by Garry Hudson. Narrated by Damian Brunetto. Copyright 2019 by Garry Hudson. Production copyright by Garry Hudson. Chapter 6. Affirmations. To create a state of mind that allows you to move your body in the direction of your inspiration, you have to create the physical manifestation of the outcome. But do it in your mind. The way to make the mind firm on tasks that have not yet happened is to keep repeating it until the affirmation itself feels like a habit. Affirmations have a similar effect on the mind as a habit. We all know how habits can influence our actions. Affirmations, on the other hand, are instituted in the absence of the action to trigger a self-fulfilling prophecy. Affirmations are grounded in faith that makes things that have not yet happened, happen. Faith leads to happiness, whereas expectation leads to destruction. The two are not compatible, nor are they fungible. To attain happiness, you must have a tremendous amount of faith. Faith is not the belief of something that does not exist. Faith is the push inside you that makes things happen before they happen. How does faith lead to happiness? When you have faith, then you know whatever it is that you desire are yours for the taking. All you have to do is ask the universe, and you will get what you ask for. But the opposite happens when you have expectations. If you have expectations without faith, then you land up never getting what you ask for. That is the same way when it comes to happiness. Never expect happiness. Rather, have faith that you will be happy. Invoking faith. An essential element of finding the happiness within is having the faith to take you there. The ability to invoke faith is something that comes naturally to many, but not all. Invoking faith is a function of the silence that you tap into when you look inside. It is like praying, except in this case there are no words to speak. Silence has no language, only the intensity of feeling. When you communicate with the intense feeling that you desire faith, faith manifests. It takes practice and it takes effort, but it is not alien to us because we are born with the innate ability to invoke faith whenever we need to. There are a few problems when we come to it, though. First of all, whenever we have negative thoughts, it tends to blanket our ability to invoke faith and douses any chances of bringing it online. Meditation is the key to invoking faith. When you meditate, you are able to get in touch with the silence that forms the basis of everything. At that level, you are able to feel your presence and invoke the faith that can propel anything you ask for. In this case, you are asking for happiness. You are not asking for happiness by owning a car or a house. You are going straight to the source and asking for happiness. Imagine the power that comes with that. Houses, cars, wealth, and cash can all be taken away from you in an instant. If you bank your happiness on the ownership of material goods, the moment the item is taken away from you, you lose your happiness. Chapter 7. Give love. You have to understand that love is about understanding and forgiving another's differences. Not faults. There are no faults. Each and every one of us is unique. That's what gives us our place in the universe. That's what gives us our purpose. We want that individuality, and we want to be unique. But then, why do we get upset when the other person is different from us? It's two sides of the same coin. Embrace your differences and love the other person as you love yourself, because the other person is a part of the larger you. The more you see this, the more you will realize your true nature. It is an empowering feeling. It's like the wave that looks at the calm sea and distinguishes itself from it as the more powerful until it realizes that the pounding wave and the calm sea are both the same. They are both water. Love everyone, no matter how different they are from you, and you will start to see the power of the universe. I will also show you how to see the good in everything, and how to turn a stumble into a step. When you give love, you are forced to forgive, and when you forgive, you acquaint yourself with the power of the present and the innocence of a child. Giving love allows you to forgive. Forgiving allows you to stay in the present. It gives you the power of now. Power of now. The power of now is actually a simple concept made difficult to understand and practice by the constant stream of distractions we face, and by the misconception of its nature. The power of now is not a physical strength that we get, but it does manifest in the physical world. The power of now is not a mental framework, nor is it a product of the mind. The power of now is merely the decision to stay focused and to be present in the moment. You need to practice the power of now so that you can magnify your vibration, and that attracts your opportunities to be able to manifest your desires. The common rebuttal to keeping the present moment in and of itself is that it blinds us to the repercussions of our actions, exposes us to foes beyond our horizon, and doesn't allow us to build a better world in the future. These are only true if we choose to waste away the moments we have. If we build in our moment, that is all we need to make sure that the subsequent moments will fall into place. Forgiveness is a key element of the power of now, because it is one of the attributes that severs any conduit that connects past transgressions to the present. When all is forgotten, and when all is forgiven, the following moment is fresh and new. A physical force that can attract the power of now is the feeling of peace. You can find this peace in many ways and in many places. Being with your loved ones, taking care of pets, doing charitable acts are all things you could do to increase the joy in yourself. Find the joy within you in everything that you do, and you will be able to attract the power of now effectively. Giving love and finding forgiveness creates intense peace within you and allows you to manifest your desires better. One of the misconceptions of fear is that we should abolish it completely. It seems like a plausible course of action, but the problem is that we need fear to warn us of existential dangers. Instead of abolishing fear, use faith as a way to respond to fear. Fear is like the messenger of bad tidings. If you kill the messenger, the bad tidings won't go away. On the physical side of our existence, there is the body and there is the brain. Within the brain is the element of consciousness. The body is not just the physical organs and space we occupy. It also refers to all things that are important in the preservation of the body. The brain takes care of that. Then there is the mind that is built on top of the brain, and we will discuss that later. Finally, there is the consciousness, which we will explore in parallel as we transverse the landscape of this book. The brain and mind come together to bridge the phenomenal aspect of our universe and the nominal aspect of our existence. Because of this, it becomes tricky when we want to explain the concept of observation and focus in any real fashion. Most explanations are cursory in nature and only serve generic use. But we want to deal in the truth of the matter and lay out the real issue of observation and focus, and what you will find is that it is related to being aware and living in the present moment. The best place to find the solution to the root of all adult problems is to observe the ways of a child. A deep observation, without personal notions or prejudice, reveals that children hold the secret to living a truly peaceful existence, and that secret is found in essentially what we can term as the power of now. That is the most powerful quality of a child, which we lose during the transitionary stage of puberty, mostly because of external influences. We chalk it up to the loss of innocence, and we assume that it's part of life. We then think that we just have to deal with it. But that long train of consequences and false observations takes a path that moves millions of people toward discord, depression, and a living hell. The present. If there is one thing you want to learn and you want to teach to your children, it is to embrace the power of now. There are a few challenges that come with digging your heels into the moment. The most prominent happen at an almost cellular level. We seem to want to move away from the present moment because we get bored of it. We don't seem to understand that each moment is not a single non-dimensional slice of that point in time and space. There is much more, and what we need to do is look at it with eyes of wonder to see more than what the first glance reveals. The present is not boring. The present is neither good nor bad, happy or sad. The present moment is not a consequence. It is in and of itself, and you should treat it as such, without worry, malice, or prejudice. The common rebuttal to keeping the present moment in and of itself is that it blinds us to the certain repercussions of our actions, exposes us to foes beyond our horizon, and doesn't allow us to build a better world in the future. The factors contained in this rebuttal are correct if you have a certain mindset that believes that by looking at possibilities, you can control them. It also assumes that your initiating actions are less than proper and that foes outnumber allies. But what's worse is that you think that in order to build a better life, you need to look to the future. No, to build a better future, you must look at improving the present. Now is a powerful period in time because you are able to wield now to your will. You can't shape the past, and you can't mold the future. You can and always will only be able to influence the present. If you spend resources on the future, then you have fewer resources to spend on the present, which logically tells you that you have not fully utilized your opportunity of the moment. A child's innocence. Have you noticed how a child reacts to a stressful situation? Perhaps he fell, or perhaps he was disciplined by a parent. They react in their own way, perhaps cry or feel sad, but within a few minutes, they are right as rain. All the stresses of the moment seem to pass effortlessly as a hand on the clock. No holding back, no residual animosity, just total and utter forgiveness of the offending act and actor. Perfect. Now they move on to their new present moment and enjoy it for what it is. And when they arrive at the new moment, there are no expectations created by this new moment, because in the previous moment, he wasn't thinking of this new one. So when there are no expectations, there are no disappointments. Also, to be realized is that if the new moment was exactly as the expectations of the precious moment were, then there is only acceptance and not joy. It's like having ice cream for the first time. I remember my child's first experience with ice cream. His response was pure joy, strong enough to infect all of us around him. That joy is powerful because it builds a person up so that after a few of those, one is strong and able to fend off anything that may happen. The opposite of having something good happen in any one moment of time is the occurrence of something not so good. There are two ways this turns out. One is that something not so good happens, and you haven't expected it. The time before the incident is spent in peace and joy. But if you fear that something is going to happen in the future, then you live all that time constantly in worse shape than something actually happening. As FDR said, nothing to fear except fear itself. Remember the child in the earlier example who fell down, then forgot it and moved on. Instead of not knowing or expecting that it was going to happen, imagine if that child constantly feared that he was about to fall. That fear would cause so much distress, and it would probably stop him from walking. You cannot live your life that way. The key is not to banish fear, but to live in the moment. Fear is a safety mechanism, not a retardant. Living in the moment is the ultimate power any person can develop. It is a power that we are born with, but soon loses to fear, memory, and the desire to survive at the expense of living. As we trace a course through this book, we will lay out the various steps to return to residing and fulfilling the potential of the moment. It is impossible to contemplate the apex of the pyramid if you have not yet laid its base. This moment sets up the next. Anything else is not real. You need to be here, now, in this space, in this time, to be able to make the rest of your life all that it could possibly be. When you look at the power of now from the perspective of manifestation of desires, what you find is that the path to effortless manifestation is the ability to give love, forgive others, be at peace, and stay in the moment. These are all the things we used to grow up with, but somewhere along the line, we forgot all those things. Chapter 8. Pay attention to your thoughts and actions. As mentioned earlier, all that you need to know about this universe is already within you. I am merely your temporary and initial guide to some of the things that you are yet to figure out. For the rest of the puzzle, you need to journey within yourself to find. You do this by asking, and you ask by vibrating the desire to know. When you do this, answers will come, and they will come in the form of thoughts and in the actions that you don't realize. For this reason, pay full attention to all that you do and all that goes through your mind. Therein lay the answers to your questions. Your best course of action is to reflect daily and write down your thoughts. You will find that you have volumes inside. The reason you have come down to a point to want to control your mindset is that your actions have an unbreakable chain of command. If you decide you want to control your actions, you can't do it directly and hope to have significant success. However, if you get your mindset to do it, everything works like a charm. Mindsets are not just the realm of New Age scientists and psychologists. It has also been the topic of immense debate among philosophers for some time now. Socrates was hinting at exactly this when he observed that the unexamined life is not worth living. Indeed, the unexamined life is a life where we do not observe our own actions. Philosophy has looked at the mindset as the root cause for all that impedes man, and all that catapults him to greatness. When we look at manifesting our desires, one of the core requirements to be able to do it is to clear our mind of unnecessary and limiting thoughts and actions. These thoughts and actions can spring up from just about anywhere, so you have to pay attention to what you think, what you believe, and what you consume from the outside world in terms of entertainment and ideas. We visited the concept of mindsets earlier. We tend to locate the mindset with the mind, and we tend to lock that with the brain. Mindsets are more than that. It's like asking where is the chocolate in the chocolate cake. Sure, you can find the cream within the layers, but what about the chocolate that's baked in the cake? Mindsets are like that. They pervade our existence and transcend physical boundaries. There are a couple of ways at looking at the power of altering one's mindset. You can either do it for everything, or you can cherry pick. When you decide to do it for everything, you will transform your life so much. Your friends won't recognize you in 6 months. Your spouse won't recognize you in a year, and your parents won't recognize you in 2 years. Chiseling your way through the iceberg of your mindset will result in a complete transformation, and it must be something that you are willing to do. Do not do it just because someone told you to. If that is the case, it may not be your time, and all you need is just to look at changing your mindset regarding a few major areas of your life. Changing your entire mindset is life-changing. Do not undertake it if you are not ready to shake things up for you and everyone who depends on you. What makes you unique is also what makes you great, or what makes you fall flat on your face. People who propel themselves to the top with nothing but their own volition, or people who get all the way there, then sabotage their own efforts, share the same thread that results in their outcome. It is their mindset and every part of the components that we described in the earlier chapter. When the time comes and your subconscious is fed up of where your mindset is taking you, it's going to point you in directions that will get you to a point for changing that mindset. That's why you now find yourself here, within the pages of this book. Your desire to reset your mindset is real. Thus, you should take real steps to accomplish it. It has been proven that 85% of all those who try to change something about themselves, whether it's the cessation of an addictive habit like smoking, or to take on a new habit like waking up earlier, fail when they just address the action. The action is the tip of the proverbial iceberg, just like you can't get rid of a weed by plucking the plant above the surface. That brings us to one last clarification on why most of you desire a change in mindset. Goethe is quoted as saying that man sees what he carries in his heart. Essentially, that's his mindset that Goethe is referring to. If you have the wrong mindset, then you're going to see wrongness all around you. And that's usually when your subconscious is going to suggest a mindset change, because that's a very unhealthy and unhappy way to live. Mindset reset. The total reset is about burning the entire house down. You want to get rid of everything. It's a fire sale. A total reset is extreme, and it will change everything from the way you think to the kind of food you eat. The reason a total reset ends up being so radical is that everything about you is connected. When you do a total reset, you change your mindset about everything. Do not be afraid of that. It's not as difficult to change your mindset. What's hard for people who undertake it is the initial rejection of a new reality. When you are used to seeing what you want to see, you get used to it even if what you are seeing is darkness. When things alter and you can now see things for what they are, it takes some getting used to. Numerous people ask me if changing one's mindset is just a matter of seeing things more positively. When it's posed in that way, the answer seems pretty obvious. But what most people mean when they frame the questions in that way is if resetting one's mindset is the same as being positive. The simple answer is that it's not. Changing your mindset requires discipline and a true understanding of the reasons behind the change. There must be a good reason for you to belie before the change of mindset can happen. It is called motivation. If you have the motivation to change your mindset, you can do it. As far as manifestation goes, you need to be able to get rid of the bad habits and limiting mindsets before you can be as clear as a bell in your desires and your inspiration. Chapter 9. Identify your limiting beliefs. The things that will be, and probably already are, your greatest stumbling blocks are the sets of beliefs that you have incorporated into your life over time. Some beliefs were inflicted upon you. Others you experienced. Some are dogmas of religion, and others are culturally imposed. Whatever they are, some of these beliefs that you have incorporated are what is limiting you from reaching the heights of your potential. You need to identify them and jettison them. The critical task is in identifying them. This is critical, and you need to do this now. You can't manifest something if you have competing beliefs or insufficient belief in the thing that you want. You will end up wasting a lot of time and energy if you endeavor to make progress in the face of limiting beliefs. The ability to believe. The ability to believe is a function of three variables. It is directly proportional to your mindful state and your mindset. The more mindful you are, the more you will believe in the things that advance you and disbelieve the things that distract you. Your natural instinct will protect you from events that serve to derail you if you develop and sharpen your ability to be aware and mindful of yourself and your goal. The second variable is the core strength that you build. The stronger you are, the more you are able to believe in your own ability and be less afraid of the unknown. Without this strength, your fear will rise to the surface, making you fearful of your inspiration. As human beings, we naturally fear the unknown. This inherent fear of all things unknown can trip you up because to really succeed, we have to go where no man has gone before. To succeed, you have to come face to face with the unknown, and that precipitates fear. But you can't afford to give in to fear, because fear will knock you off your footing. To stand up to fear, you must build strength in the form of belief in yourself and all you do. The third variable is knowledge of yourself. Here you need to be true to yourself about what you know, what you don't, where your strength and weaknesses lay. As Shakespeare writes, "To thine own self be true." There are two parts to this. On the one hand, you must have high confidence that you can achieve anything. But, on the other hand, you must also be humble enough to realize the truth is that you don't know everything. This second part of humility, when combined with faith that despite not knowing everything you can still be successful, will take you far. Most people misunderstand the two parts. They are afraid of what they don't know and confuse that with thinking that their potential is flawed. Not knowing something is only temporary. Knowing something is forever. Only you can decide if you will allow your ignorance to be permanent or temporary. If you apply will and discipline, you can acquire the knowledge that will vanquish the ignorance. So this third element is the knowledge of yourself and filling in the gaps when necessary. The third element of your belief must be this ability to see yourself in truth and transparency. If you hide your shortfalls to satisfy your ego, there will always be a part of you that is uncertain of your footing because you know beneath the surface that you are lacking in a certain area. As such, this third element is about truth and transparency. Just as a quick recap, the first variable element of belief is mindfulness. As you vary the level of mindfulness, all else being equal, you impact your ability to believe proportionately. The second variable is strength. Where the stronger you are, the higher your power of belief. Finally, the variable of transparency and truth about yourself to yourself. The more transparent you are, the more powerful your belief. If you can accomplish all three, you can replace all limiting beliefs with a mindset that is in tune with your inspiration, and thereby one that is aligned with your success. The state of belief. Your level of success is directly proportional to the state of your belief. The state of your belief is the net of the three elements described in the last section. If you are strong in your self-confidence and stand up to your fear, and at the same time you are mindful and aware of yourself and your desires, coupled with your ability to be truthful about yourself, then you will find that the resulting state you are in is one of strong belief in yourself, your inspiration, and in the final outcome. You can manifest anything in this state. When you have this belief and you fail at something, you will have no doubt in your mind that you can get up and get back to work. The belief you have fortifies you from within, and you need that kind of fortification to be able to succeed and carry you to greatness. You have to manage this state of belief actively. Your state of belief is not something you can achieve by accident. It doesn't happen by chance, and it can be eroded if you are not in careful cognizance of it. You have to guard your belief, and in the event you feel unsure, you need to examine the elements that go into strengthening and defining your belief. That is an incontestable fact. What you believe in will always be your reality, regardless of what you choose to believe. If you believe that you will never amount to much, you're right. But if you believe, even with the evidence to the contrary, that you will be wildly successful, you are right as well. As Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. All else being equal, it does not matter how educated you are, how much you inherited, or where you are born. What you need is to believe that you can be whatever you want to be. The other side of that coin is that you will be whatever you are afraid of being. Between the outcomes, what do you think determines the one that materializes? Is it belief? No, it's a trick question. You will end up being whichever you apply the more energy to. Belief is a form of energy, and so is fear, if regulated incorrectly. Many people end up becoming exactly what they fear. Look at it this way. Whatever you pay attention to is what will materialize in your life. That's where elders talk about bad luck when they say talking about bad things could result in it happening. It's not bad luck, it's your state of belief. The road to success has many detours and distractions. Among the lot of them, I've chosen 10 of the most common to reveal their nature. Self-doubt, procrastination, fear of failure, excuses, prejudice, negative thoughts, pleasing others, negative environment, fear of success, and focusing on the rewards. Every single one of these detours can be fatal to the body of success because it represents the manifestation of our inability to believe in our own success. You may even think that you are not worthy of success and that a mediocre life is all you need to get by. None of that is true. You have the free will to desire success. You have the universe, which you have equal right to be able to extract inspiration. And you have the free will to use your body and mind to make that inspiration a reality. Once you get to that level, then you will see that you don't even need to give your effort a second look. You will find that you are always geared up and always ready to rumble. Success becomes second nature. That's the way we have evolved. If you take away the distractions, success is in our nature. But we have been blinded and become part of a collective that looks like something out of the Matrix trilogy, plugged in and doped up on a simple existence. Our real nature is that of a highly successful life, designed for greatness, but unfortunately distracted by sideshows. Chapter 10. Replace your limiting beliefs. Once you have learned to identify your limiting beliefs, you will need to surgically remove them from your web of character. This is an easy step if you know what to do and how to do it. In this chapter, I will show you how to replace your limiting beliefs with beliefs that will catapult you into the achievement of your potential. We all have some level of prejudice in any number of things at some station in our lives. We either underestimate something or overestimate it. Only hardly ever do we assign accurate understanding of something before we get to know it. That is the nature of all things when they come together for the first time. The first time I got my dog from the pound, it was totally not what I expected. He turned out to be the sweetest thing that changed my life for the better. the first time I met my best boss, the first time I met my wife, the first time I met my business partner. They all turned out not to be what I thought of them when I first met them. The ones who I thought were good turned out to be great, and the ones that I thought were bad turned out to be worse. As I got older and wrested control of my thoughts and prejudices, I came to notice a pattern. My original thought was that I was a superb judge of character. You can clearly see why, because the ones I thought were good actually turned out to be great. But then I realized it was something more. The more I advanced and improved in clarity, thought, and determination, I also noticed that it wasn't the world that shaped my opinion of things. It was my opinion of things that shaped the world. The pattern told me that I could make any relationship any way I wanted it to be, and even more, I could make any event or pursuit anything I wanted to be. It was altogether the most astounding thing I came across because it bestowed 3 things on me. The first was that I was the only one responsible for the way things unfolded for me. The second was that I had the power to change things in my favor or even to turn the tides against me. Finally, I found that the best way to look at anything is to look at it as means to reach my goals. The 3 things I learned seem to resemble each other under different light, and in fact, they overlap in many areas, as things of subtle nature often do. I had to make a choice of how to start seeing the positive things so that they would impact me positively. And in doing that, I found that I had come to terms with what I believe. If I believed that something was bad for me, no matter how I tried to turn it or fake it, I couldn't until I changed what I believed. But that felt impossible to do until I found what was in plain sight all along. To make everything turn in my favor, I realized that everything that came my way came for a really good reason, and they were all there to lift me up, not thrash me down. Nothing that ever happened in my life since that time has resulted in catastrophe or sustained defeat. I learned that by learning to truly believe in the whole is better than just trying to believe in just one small part. If I am myopic, then it's hard not to be prejudiced. But when I see the big picture, my inspiration and all the things that come my way lock into place and only serve to do one thing: lead me to greatness, if I choose. You can do this too. How it manifests in your life will differ from mine, and sometimes events will put your resolve through its paces. But your belief should be able to rise above all forms of distractions. Your strength and your resolve will carry you in times of confusion, and your meditation time will reinvigorate your moments of doubt with a clearer view of your inspiration. You just have to remember to come back to your base. Return to the innocence of truth that no single event can bring you down. But put them all together, and they are actually there to lift you up. That's all you need to do. Once you believe in yourself, not only do you vanquish the army of the dark, but you will get them to fight for you. So, once again, your armor against one of the distractions on your road to success is belief. You only need to remember one thing aside from the fact that you can use belief to conquer prejudice. You need to remember that you can use prejudice to locate and define the source of belief. It is a simple step, and the best way I can describe it is the way you would look at a large white sheet of paper that has a black dot on it. When we see that black dot, it is like us noticing the prejudice. But when we are forced to look at the white negative space around it, we suddenly realize there is more to focus on than just that black dot. Belief is the same way. It is all around you. You just have to refocus. Chapter 11. Learn to deal with resistance. There are many things we have to overcome between where we stand at the cusp of inspiration and the point where we achieve our purpose. Some are resistance. Some are failures. The former urging us to fine-tune our efforts, the latter showing us the nature of things. Resistance may test your resolve, but it's not designed to do that. Resistance tells us that we are getting it right, but we are not in sync with the harmony of the universe. Have you had a time when you are on Main Street and all the lights at every intersection just keep turning green as you approach it? That's not luck. That's you being in sync with the timing of the lights. The universe has its own beat too, and if you can find that beat, your ride gets smoother. Don't give up, just reset. I will show you how. At birth, our mind is a blank canvas. Whatever is written on this canvas is done so by 6 input channels, our 5 senses, plus an active yet evolving sense of imagination. Whatever our senses observe gets recorded, and our instinct to mimic prompts us to emulate. As a toddler, when we see someone walk, the desire to mimic that walk prompts us to retrieve the information on that canvas and begin doing what we see others do. It seems simple enough. One leg forward, then the other, and keep alternating. It seems simple enough until we try it. The first time we try, we fall on our behinds. Why? Because even when we manage to observe everything perfectly, there are just some things we could not have possibly observed, like balance and timing, for instance. Nature's way of teaching. We are limited by what we can observe, what our senses can detect, so we only see part of the story. Even if it is explained to us that the missing piece is our ability to balance, there is no way we would understand them or comprehend the concept of balance, or more so, how to actually balance. All things require your own exposure to it and experience with it to fully understand its nature and its secrets. The only way to be able to walk is to get up and do it. No matter how deeply you observe it or how much you study it, you will never conquer it until you actually try it. One thing is certain, that's what you did when you learned to walk. You didn't give up, you didn't stop, and you failed numerous times. But here you are, an expert at walking, and it changed your life, didn't it? Those things that you failed at all those times and finally got it, and now do it effortlessly, changed your life, right? Today, you can walk, run, jog, walk backward, and you can even dance. Let's look at that in terms that you can use. First off, you wanted to walk. Desire. Second, you just went out and did it. Effort. Third, you didn't expect to fail. Confidence. Fourth, when you failed, you tried again. Persistence. At the end of it all, what you did manifested. The ability to walk. You instinctively knew how to manifest something when you were a kid. You, like all of us, just forgot how to do it as you got older. Notice the dynamics at play here. Every time you failed, it helped you understand your task better. It helped you to understand what you could do and what you couldn't. It helped you know your task better than any book could describe or any instruction could guide. When you failed, you got closer to knowing it completely. Failure didn't set you back. You didn't fail towards zero. It took you forward. You failed towards success. Failing forward and inching towards success is nature's way of guiding your path to greatness. Expectations. If you substitute desire with expectation, or if you tarnish the path that goes from desire to persistence with expectation, you will find it harder than it needs to be to get where you want to be. Expectations tire you out and are a waste of time. The biggest stumbling block in achieving your desires is the expectation that you put to it, and when you do not live up to that expectation, you quit. You think you failed because you did not materialize that expectation. Expectations alter the true goal. Something that is possibly real is converted to an unachievable illusion when you place expectations on it. Expectations make failures. When you are that toddler learning how to walk, you have no expectations, and you do not understand the expectations of those around you, freeing you to fulfill your desire, unencumbered. When you are on a quest to succeed, absent of expectations, you are true and loyal to an outcome that is fully baked. A fully baked outcome is one that occurs organically, where you know the nature of your objectives and the secrets of its nature. It is the truest form of success that you can extract from your efforts. There is no cheating or shortcuts, and you get exactly what you desire and deserve. Think about it this way. Imagine an athlete that enhances his ability through desire, effort, confidence, and persistence. The success he achieves in a tournament is his. But if he relied on some form of steroid to get him there, that success is not his, and he will have to contend with the consequences down the road. His successful outcome without steroids was fully baked, while the one with steroids was not. When you insert expectations in your quest for a fully backed outcome, you will place milestones that are not real or appropriate. This expectation will demand you label your interim setbacks as a chain of unproductive steps, and the logical conclusion would be to cut your losses. When you do cut your losses, you stop. When you stop, you rob yourself of success. Failing eventually leads to success, but expectations define all failures as failing backwards and lead you to zero. A world without failure. Imagine your life without errors, mistakes, and failures. Would you be better off? If you focus on the pain of the disappointment and the inconvenience of the repercussions, then mistakes and failures will invoke poorly. How could you have possibly learned all those things that you did from those failures? How would you be a better person, or how could you even be who you are now without them? How could you expand your mind if there is no such thing as failure? Does it even seem plausible? Do you envision a teacher that knows everything and could teach you and warn you before every challenge? Is there such an omniscient person? Run that thought experiment in your head for as many times as you can. Is there anyone that you could possibly rely on to teach you? If you take intentional failures and self-sabotage off the table, what's blocking you from learning from failure? What are you afraid of? Could it be an inflated ego lurking in the shadows? But if you can see the value of failure and understand the nature of it, then you are in possession of the understanding of life itself. If you could personify nature and life to be your teacher, then that teacher's method of instruction would be trial and error. Einstein knew this, so did Edison, and certainly so did Darwin. Pride and failure. The reason most people do not want to fail, as we have mentioned, is a combination of pride and fear. Pride because we do not want to look foolish to ourselves and those around us when we fail. And we know what comes before the fall, don't we? Fear of falling, on the other hand, comes about because we do not know what's on the other side of failure. After reading this book and distinguishing the kinds of failures, you should have no problem to peer beyond the horizon and see what lies after the point of failure. We tend to do the same with our children. Many try to protect them from failure to such an extent that they, in turn, get the wrong idea of making mistakes and failure. That then sows the seed perception toward errors and failures in the next generation. The problem is that we are looking out for our kids so much we forget that we can never be as good a teacher as consequence and failure can. We tend to rob them of the gift of failure, and we snatch away their natural instincts to take risks. Risk and faith in failing. Risk and faith are two faces of the same coin. If you do not know how to face risk, you will be hard-pressed to ever learn about faith. If you compound that with shunning failure, you will never be able to bring yourself to taking risks because you will find that in taking risk, there is always a chance of failure. So you end up living a life that is mediocre and unproductive. The only thing that shunning failure and playing it safe gets you is a mediocre life. Is that what you want? Is that what you want for your kids? It's fine to teach kids about simplicity, but it's not fine to teach them not to take risks. It's not fine to teach them it's bad to make mistakes. How we develop the next generation depends on how we view mistakes and how we proceed from it. Making a mistake or failing is not what we really mean to curtail in our kids. What we are really trying to do is make them learn from mistakes, and so we inadvertently look down on mistakes, and that causes long-term systemic problems. We want our kids to be safe, and the only way to keep them safe is for them to be able to protect themselves. They will not learn how to do this if they do not make mistakes. Children grow up and subconsciously shy away from mistakes. They would rather not try something new than try and have a good chance of failing the first few times. What a shame, don't you think? What a shame to deny the younger minds the gift of making a mistake. Failure is a gift. It gives us the visceral response needed to see things as they are not as we hope them to be. If you were one of those people who has been told all your life, or if you had made the determination that failures and mistakes are bad, then here we are going to teach you how to get out from under that spell. You start by telling yourself that there is only one way to look at failure, and that is to see it as the way to not do something. It is not a sign to stop doing it altogether. It is not a message from the gods to turn back. In fact, if it was a message from the gods, the message wouldn't read turn back. It would read, only the deserving shall pass. Everyone on this planet has exactly what they deserve when it comes to the life they lead. Some people may counter that notion with comments of how their health and their lot in life were not of their choosing. As long as you are alive, you can make anything happen. All you need to be anything you desire is to be alive. Do you have that right now? Yes? Well, then you can do anything, and failure will be your best teacher, your ideal guide. It is said that when Abraham Lincoln took office, he surrounded himself with critics. These were the people quick to jump on his faults and quick to show him the errors of his ways. It takes a strong character to do that. The alternative is to be surrounded by sycophants. By adhering to the lessons of failure, you will realize that nature and the natural order of things are your worst critics, and they use failure and consequence to teach you everything you need to know to navigate the necessary path to success. There is no wiser critic, no harsher adversary, nor is there a wiser teacher than failure. If you put aside your pride, your ego, hold your fear at bay, then you will be able to reap the rewards of learning from failure. Failure is a gift because not only does it tell you when you are wrong, it will not show up when you are right just to spite you or to put you down. Failure doesn't judge you on how many times you fail. Just because you failed the last 10,000 times, it does not get angry with you or preclude you from trying one more time. Failure is the language that nature uses to show you the way, the voice of the heavens to guide your way. But be aware, failure without reflection and disregard of the lessons of failure will not bring you closer to success. You cannot hope to repeat the same act 1,000 times and expect a different outcome. There must be reflection, and something must be tweaked to move forward. When you meet failure, She is telling you to alter your steps, not your destination. Chapter 12. Transform your negative thoughts. You are not the only one who has negative thoughts. Every one of us has them. The only difference between us is that some of us know how to walk away from negative thoughts, and some of us engage in them. You cannot control negative thoughts by engaging them. Whether you are prodding them on by advancing some of the nastiness, or you are pleading with your mind to stop it, both those actions are considered engaging the thoughts. You can't do either if you ever hope to stop them. Instead, you let them go and go about your business. You have to make your non-response response to negative thoughts as simple as possible. I will teach you how to let go and how to get rid of them without acknowledging them, and how to be rid of them for good by letting go of things that happen to you. Scour the internet all you want, and the proper definition of discipline will still elude you. It did me. The only place I could find it was within myself and across the long, unrelated books on philosophy that were milestones of the ages. Simple textbook definitions and dictionary blurbs did nothing to truly elaborate on a concept that has such vast implications and such power to change the course of one's life. What you are in search of is the essence of a power to withstand an internal force that grips everyone in one way or another. What you need to find is the antidote to the poison of the flesh. What you need to identify is the shield against the arrows of the devil himself. That is what discipline is, in essence. It is the shield, it is the antidote, and it is the power to withstand. At its truest, discipline covers a wide spectrum of opposing forces and tips the balance in the direction of a logical and well-reasoned solution. Whether you realize it or not, discipline is a cognitive tool, unlike hunger and pain, which are tools of the body. But the thing you need to wrap your mind around is that discipline can even be brought to bear in the way you think as well. For example, in people who are inherently and psychologically negative, the kind of people who think that something lurks behind the blue-skied, bright sunny day, are those who have not brought any discipline to the mind, and so the mind has degenerated to the point that it is always on heightened caution and negative in its outlook. In short, you can discipline your mind, not just your body or your instincts. Thoughts. There are two broad classes of thoughts. Thoughts that occur randomly are the first kind. The second are thoughts that you will into existence. You read a book and think about the content of the book, for instance. Each of the two has a positive potential, and both have negative potential as well. You have the ability to control both. If you are the overcautious kind, it is very likely that you develop negative thoughts over time. Once you start to develop them, and those negative thoughts come to fruition, you reward them for being right and for saving you from possible harm. This empowers negative thoughts. When the negative thoughts are empowered, you begin to form strong negative mindsets, and from there you end up shading all things that you are exposed to. All your actions are driven by thoughts. Whether they are fresh thoughts or thought patterns that became habits, your actions can't happen without them being formed as a thought. Thoughts lead to actions. Actions lead to consequences. Consequences are either beneficial or destructive, and consequences either manifest in the short term or over a long horizon. Consequences that are in the short term form habits faster. Consequences that manifest in the long term manifest in habits, slower or not at all. When you look at this chain of events, you start to understand that your thoughts, whether willed or random, have an impact on your life, and you must find a way to control your thoughts to be able to take control of your life. This is the first and most important kind of discipline, the discipline of thinking. There are positive ways of looking at things, just as there are negative ways of looking at things. The worst state to be in is the state that fosters negative thoughts, the state that promotes excess caution and distrust. The middle of the road is the state of positive thoughts. In many scenarios, it is advised that people have positive thoughts. But positive thoughts may be great for the short term, but they are not practical and do not do anything to advance your ability to be disciplined or successful. Seeing things positively and not as they are can get you in trouble. It also doesn't do anything to be able to see the truth. What you really need is the third option. You need to be able to see things for what they are. You need to be pragmatic so that your mind is not influenced one way or the other before it has a chance to analyze the data and see things for what they are. Being happy is often confused with being positive, but being positive is not about how you analyze things. Being positive comes at a much higher level. Being positive is applied to a higher plane. It is about knowing that whatever truth you are faced with, you can make it into a position that is advantageous for you. You just need to have the discipline to think pragmatically about all things. This brings us to your natural state of mind. Your natural state of mind should be one that is happy because you know two things. You know whatever you are faced with, you will be able to see things as they are, and you can garner significant safety from that because when you see things as they are, you will be able to fix anything. Once you can control your thoughts to be pragmatic with the aid of discipline, you then need to look at how that translates in the real world. Actions. Actions come from thoughts, but there is a gap. Not all thoughts translate to actions, and not all thoughts should translate to actions. You need to have the discipline to apply to which thought translates to action. This is your second step in discipline. It's a different kind of discipline with a different consequence profile. Once you discipline your mind to generate the kinds of thoughts that are beneficial to you in the short and long term, you are now in a position to put them into action. Converting thoughts to actions is almost as hard as thinking about the right things. You need to be able to apply the energy necessary to be able to pull off what your thought has decided to do. This takes resolve. It also takes discipline to be able to do it constantly and consistently. Discipline flows from focus. The best way to be able to keep your body doing what your mind has decided is to keep your mental focus constant. Most of us decide to do something, pass the instruction along, and allow our minds to move on to the next thing. That's where the problem starts, because for the body to be under the control of the mind needs to be constantly watching. If you allow your mind to step away, your body is going to disregard its instructions, and your mind won't be there to compel it back in line. Chapter 13. Manifesting. You can manifest anything, meaning you can take an idea or thought that you really like and make it real in life. Wishes do come true if and when you have managed to clear all the blockages and stumbling blocks and get in sync with the universe. The law of manifestation that you need to know about is all around you if you observe the things that happen to you and around you. You know it to be true. I am just going to show you how to make it happen. You still need to practice. Manifesting something is to receive that thing in this tangible world. It is a gift. No matter how hard and smart you work for it, it is a blessing, and you should be grateful for it. Once you are, you will get more. Once you get more, you have to share that with those who don't know how to get it. Not give it to them free of charge. Don't give them a fish. Teach them how to fish. One of my ways of giving after I've received so much is to show you how to go about doing it. If you give more, I guarantee you, you will get more. We have covered significant ground in this book. We started at the core of the topic and visited the structure of the universe so that you understand that there is some logical rationale to all this. What you should see by now is that manifesting your dreams into reality is not a one-step process. In fact, it's not even something that you can do in steps. This is not like a recipe for pudding. To be able to manifest your dreams, you need to live a lifestyle that aligns all these skills so that you can live the life of a conduit that can ask the universe for whatever you need, and it will flow through you into reality. Just like Thomas Edison made the light bulb a reality. Asking how to manifest is an obvious question, but after reading this book, asking how to manifest is like asking a tuning fork how to hit a note. If you follow some list, you may be able to manifest your dreams every once in a while, or probably none. But when you change your mindset, when you fine-tune your vibration, and if you live the life, then look out. You are going to be able to manifest everything you desire. Because three things will happen. First, you will be able to be inspired as to what are the things that you should desire. That means your desires will not be random and they will not be fancies that fleet in the moment. You will start to see your true value and the things that really mean something to you. When this happens, you will start to manifest effortlessly. Second, you will start to have the energy to proceed with the action needed to make things happen, because you will have the power to move anything out of your way and climb over stumbling blocks that would ordinarily trip anyone else up. Finally, you will be able to create the perfect vibration at all times. When you are at this level, not only can you manifest constantly, things will come to you automatically. They will be ready, waiting for you, and they will stand in front of you. Manifesting is about making your dreams come true and about making your life one that is meaningful and based on achievement. For those of you wondering how to manifest that new Porsche or the new Gulfstream 650, then I have some additional words for you. Rewards versus achievement. When we look at monetary gain and comforts of luxury, there is nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong when you are motivated by the rewards of your achievement. Don't feel sorry about that, and don't feel that you are a lesser person for loving the rewards of a rich life. But what this book is offering you is more than all that. Anyone with decent credit is going to be able to get a loan to buy a Ferrari. In fact, Gulfstream even has financing. Or you could even get a timeshare for jets. What's the big deal in that? What you should really focus on is the achievement, because the reward will always follow. When you visualize the sports car in your driveway or the super yacht in the marina, all you are doing is imagining the rewards that you want. However, if you focus your powers of manifestation on making $1 million a day, or $10 million a day, or even $100 million per day, then what you end up doing is creating the vibration that results in power. With $100 million a day, the toys you want to buy will be bought effortlessly. The other thing is that if you focus on the reward and ask for a yacht, let's say, what happens after you get the yacht? What happens if you just scrape enough to put together a loan and the yacht's in the marina? What's next? The disappointment will be palpable. Instead, you should desire the achievement of success. The rewards will follow. I want to leave you with one last thing to consider. The universe only gives what you desire, and that could be anything, even mishaps. If you desire bad things, that's exactly what you will manifest. When you are negative and you vibrate negativity, that's what you will manifest. You can even manifest catastrophes. This is why bad things happen to people with negative thoughts, and that reinforces their resolve that bad things always happen. If you are someone who has a lot of bad things happen in your life, then you need to start thinking positively. Go back to chapter 4 and look at the skills you need to practice to be able to think positively so that you can start changing your life. It only takes one event that you desire positively. Believe that you deserve it and allow it to happen without hesitation for you to realize that you can have good in your life, and it can be good after good after good. It's what you believe that will happen. Conclusion. The universe is a part of all of us. Some say that the energy that is part of everything is God and God is everything. If so, we are all a part of God, and we have the power of making things happen more than we have thought possible. The power to manifest, to make tangible inspirations that are intangible, is certainly divine in nature. Remove your blinders and your limiting beliefs, and you will come to understand the true nature of yourself, this world, and the universe within and around you. At its most fundamental level, this universe is made up of energy. From this energy comes matter. From matter come the various particles, and from particles we get elements. If you take hydrogen, you find that it is made up of one electron and one proton, two different particles. If you add another particle to that existing hydrogen atom, you get helium, and so you get one element after the other. But the starting point is the same: energy. Einstein figured this out when he derived the E=mc² equation. You've seen it everywhere. You see it all the time. You probably even realize that it means that mass and energy are interchangeable. But it is also more than that. Matter and energy are the same things in different states. It's kind of like water vapor and ice is the same thing, just in different states. From a superficial perspective, ice is tangible. You can hold it, observe it with your senses, and even count it. Vapor, on the other hand, in the absence of equipment, can't be seen, touched, or measured with your bare senses. So for the purpose of this discussion, let's just take that this water vapor is intangible. Energy and matter present the same parallel. Matter is tangible, and energy is not. Again, in the absence of special equipment. Your body is the same. It is composed of tissue and soul. Tissue is tangible, and the soul isn't. This world is built on tangible and intangible. The tangible are the parts you can observe, while the intangible are the parts you cannot observe directly, but you know they are here because of the way other elements or matter behave around them. What has all this got to do with meditation? Well, just as sound is tangible, silence is intangible. So if we wanted a nice little package, here is what we have. Matter, water, and the tissue of the body can be placed under the tangible column, while energy, vapor, and soul are placed in the intangible column. Sounds are tangible by virtue of the fact that you can use one of your senses to detect them. Feelings are tangible too, because feelings are merely chemical reactions in your body that result in a certain level of detection. But silence is undetectable by any sense in your body, and only discernible by exclusion. For this reason, silence is considered intangible. Energy, the soul, and silence are in the same column since they are intangible. We take the soul to be the part of the universal energy that is within us. So when you want to understand the soul and the universe by extension, you have to use silence. But that is a whole lot easier than it sounds. It's not sufficient to stop talking or stop listening. Invoking this brand of silence requires a different method, and that is the method of meditation. The distractions of the mind that are constantly battling with the body are distractions that overshadow the silence of the soul. To reach that silence, you have to silence the chaos of the mind. This is the reason most people misunderstand meditation to mean the quieting of the mind. You actually have to still the mind before being able to appreciate meditation. This is the key to manifestation. You need a clear mind. Once you do that, your ability to vibrate your desires improves exponentially. Your ability to attract is more effective, and your ability to attract opportunity instead of distraction is perfected. The ability to manifest is grounded in the way you live your life. It is not a recipe to grant wishes, but a gift that all of us have, as long as we live a life with good vibrations. This has been Manifesting: How to Cultivate Inner Peace, Release Self-Doubt, and Manifest Abundance with Emotional Intelligence, Law of Attraction, and Powerful Affirmation. Written by Garry Hudson. Narrated by Damien Brunetto. Copyright 2019 by Garry Hudson. Production copyright by Garry Hudson.